Hey folks, this is Rainiac, and welcome back to Doctor Who Reviews. And this week, I've got two guests with me.
No, you don't.
Yeah, yes I have. We've got FreezingInferno, and backed by popular demand, or so she thinks, Kat.
What do you mean, so I think?
I'm messing
What
with
the
you.
hell are you talking about? Gee, everyone likes Kat.
I'm
I'm
messing
the most
with
popular thing on your channel. You would have nothing if it weren't for me.
you. All 50 people that watch these reviews.
And
So
all of them love
anyway,
you.
no Kuchiri this week because I was kind of annoyed with him taking over from me for the listen review and trying to basically kick me off my own review. So as
It was his
punishment,
idea.
we've locked him in the vault.
Oh, but
Yes, and all he has to escape with is a duck, a toothpick, and 3 pounds of ramen noodles. So we'll see how that goes.
I can't
Really?
believe you remembered that from
You
Saturday.
gave him
Anyway,
that? You generous people. He'll be out before the damn thing's over.
okay. In tradition, spoiler warning. This is the spoiler warning. There are spoilers in the episode. End of spoiler warning.
Hey, you stole that one from me.
It works. So anyway, Time Heist.
Time Heist!
I like this episode so much. Except
like
they
it.
pissed me off at one point.
I liked it
But we'll
too.
get to that later.
Doesn't an episode piss you off at one point every week?
Yes, because it's Moffat.
I can't disagree with you there.
Yes,
The
I pronounce it
Moff.
that way to annoy people.
Okay.
It's the
Moffat.
Moffat.
Well, I will say straight away that the pre-credit sequence here might be the most exciting one in recent memory.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
it started out slow, but it really made you want to know what's going to happen.
I don't normally like it when scenes sort of jar like that so abruptly, but here it works very well. One thing it's like, it's just a phone call, right? Nothing happens when you answer the ah!
And then
What
they're
the
both
fuck
throwing
is going on?
memory worms all over the place.
Yeah, I'm happy to see the memory worms back from the snowmen.
They are a very convenient thing to have around, simply for the fact that it really adds to the plot when your characters can't remember what the hell they're doing.
I mean,
So it's like
right.
they're wondering what's going on, so that makes you wonder what's going on.
And we find out what's going on as they find out what's going on. You see?
Yeah, I think that's quite a good narrative storytelling device.
And it's sort of a nice it's sort of a nice change because usually the Doctor always knows what's going on. Maybe not at the start, but because he's so smart, he usually knows, hey, they're this, so we need to do this. In this case, he's acting more like how a protagonist should be. Where you have no idea what's going on. He has no idea what's going on, so he has to either have it explained to him or has to explain it to other people.
Yeah, he really does have to pull a lot of weight in this episode. He has to figure out what's going on, and then he has to figure out why the hell he agreed to what's going on, and there's a lot of shit to go on.
Yeah, and back on the subject of the memory worms just for a brief second, I felt they were used better here than they were in the snowmen.
I'm going to level with you. I totally forgot that they were a conceit invented for the snowman.
Oh, I see what you did there. God damn it.
No. I swear to God, I'm not doing the thing. I literally did forget.
Okay.
I forget what they were used for in the Snowman.
Two
What,
things.
Richard E.
Strax
Grant's
comedy.
memory?
Strax comedy.
Oh, right, the Strax thing.
And wiping Simeon's mind to stop the Great Intelligence.
Strax used for comedy? That would never happen.
I know,
How could I
right?
forget about Strax being used for comedy? That's like the best part of any episode.
Inconceivable.
You keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
Oh, very good. We are just feeling so witty today, aren't we? Well, it rhymes with it anyway. Also, we got another mention of the woman in the shop.
And that was our only silly, stupid arc thing. Ain't no Missy in this episode and no Promised Land.
Woo!
Yay!
I was so worried that since they're going to a bank somewhere in the vault, there'd be a clue as to it. But I was so thankful there was nothing.
Oh,
I thought there was...
You had, 3 episodes in a row with nothing but the overarching plot in the beginning of the series? Let it go. Just stop.
Yeah, I mean, episode 3 had a brief mention of the overarching plot. This one had a very, very brief mention of it. I prefer that way of continuing a story arc, as opposed to just in your face, here's the story arc!
Yeah, it's Moffat has done this, or I'm sorry, Moffat has done this like 4 seasons in a row. Cracks in Time, Doctor dying, Clara Oswald, Missy. It's starting to get old, Hat.
Are we really going to call him Muff Hat for the rest of the review?
Yes.
I'm game if you are, Rainiac.
By the way, I am still waiting for my Can remix of Clara being hidden of the newspaper and her smacking the doctor. Get on it, people. I am waiting.
Yes, that's a bit disappointing that no one's got around to doing that.
Patient. That's a very bad thing to do. Oh, God.
I have a horrible feeling we'll be waiting for a long, long time.
So, what else should we talk about regarding a Time Heist?
Well, there was one line early in the episode that Kuchiri really didn't like.
Oh, what's that?
In fact,
no, what did Kermit not like?
What? Kermit?
If you listen to him, he sounds like Kermit the Frog. I swear.
Oh my God!
Let me just explain. Kat took offence to Kuchiri kicking me out last week.
I wouldn't laugh, Rizzo. You're in just much trouble.
Okay. Which Muppet am I?
You're Rizzo the Rat.
Oh, I thought Rainiac was Rizzo.
You are so on probation.
No, I'm still not sure who Rainiac is. I kind of wanted him to be Sam the Eagle for the irony, but he's not as strict and horrible as Sam was, so I'm not sure who he is.
I'm going to keep it that way for as long as humanly possible.
So anyway,
The line that Kuchiri didn't like is, "We do not wish to hurt you before your incineration."
Wait, really?
It's kind of nonsensical, I'll agree, but...
I actually liked that line, and not just because Kuchiri hated it, okay? I actually like it because here's the thing about how I view death. Death is the end all. That's it. There's no coming back after death, well, unless you're Rory or Amy.
Or
but I
Doctor.
Usually, death in this series is permanent. And by saying that they don't want to hurt you, that means that they're not trying to make it so that you don't suffer for too long. Incineration, obviously it's going to hurt. But in the long run, they don't want to hurt you unnecessarily. They're going to kill you, and it's going to hurt then, but they don't want to make it hurt more than it actually should.
That's a very good point.
So it's actually a kinder way of doing it, even though the method of your death is not great.
I thought it was just a throwaway comedy line, but you make a lot of sense.
Okay.
Yeah, and even with what we later find out about what happens to those who try to do crimes, they are seen as the worst thing that could happen to the bank. Someone who comes in intending to perform some sort of crime, stealing, depositing counterfeit money, stuff like that. So they get a punishment that's worse than death.
Gross.
So in a way, this is actually not that bad of a thing for this bank to do, because it makes sense.
Okay. So anyway, they've arrived on the planet. They're given their details by the architect. The soldiers show up, but they escape with the help of the memory worms. And then we get our first appearance of the villain for this episode, Miss Delphox.
Don't forget, the Doctor and Clara are not alone.
Oh,
They have their two new people who are Sai and I can't remember how you pronounce the word.
Sabra. I was going to get to them a second, but we'll go straight to the two co-conspirators.
Well, if you're going to skip right over them to the villain, you're going to need to talk about them.
That's a fair point. Okay, so
They
the
kinda came
co-conspirators. It's just because my notes were in a certain order, but okay, we can talk about the co-conspirators. We have Sai, who is a augmented human, who's basically part computer, and we have Sabra, who is a shapeshifter.
Unwillingly.
Rogue and meets Mystique from the X-Men.
Yeah, she's a cross between Rogue and Mystique, isn't she?
Yeah, that was a very good thing you said there, Frez.
Yeah.
Very good. Was it a metaphor? I forget.
Analogy?
Analogy,
sure.
yeah.
Let's go with that.
Well, of these two, I suppose co-conspirators or even companions, temporary companions, I much preferred Sai.
Yeah, he was pretty cool.
It's nice. They're both pretty neat.
Well, I don't entirely agree. I mean, with Sai, his abilities make him pretty much the perfect choice to help you rob a bank.
True, but...
Well, in the case of this bank, one of their security measures is that they have DNA scanners. So having Syra, or however you pronounce her name, I still can't. So having the lady who is able to shapeshift and completely replicate their DNA to the point that even the scanners are fooled, that's really useful as well.
I mean, I looked at her abilities. I thought her abilities were really cool, and by the way, the special effects team did another cracking job. I just thought she as a character wasn't very well fleshed out.
There wasn't really much time for that, though, was there?
Well, yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head. This was a bit rushed.
Yeah, a lot of people on the Something Awful thread were saying that this could have worked as a two-parter in some aspects.
Yeah, extra 5 minutes would have covered it.
Whatever you say, okay. Whatever, more time is basically what we're saying.
But Sai at least got some character development. Sabra didn't really get that, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, they kind of went with her for the usual route of superheroines and comic book stuff, where they're just basically, oh, she's sad because she has this thing. Done. Bye.
Done. Bye. Atomic Shredder.
Whereas with Sai, it was a bit more complex.
Yeah, there was a little bit more emotion to his character, and even Clara, she clung to him more than she did the lady.
Oh, it's a tragic story with Sai, because he basically just deleted his own memories to save his family, but now he can't remember his own family.
That's sad.
That's tragic.
So
anyway,
now that I've managed to divert you two, let's go back to what Rainiac was talking about with the villain.
Well, yeah, Miss Delphox, I suppose she was technically the main villain, although technically she wasn't.
She's also a Pokemon.
I'm glad you brought that up.
She also looks like Sea Viper from Street Fighter.
She did, yeah. Now, here's the thing about Miss Delphox. She's played by Keely Hawes. Now, you may not know who this is, but she's a British actress, and she is very good. There was a series that came out this year called Line of Duty, Series 2 of Line of Duty. Anyone in the UK who hasn't seen this, I implore you to track it down. She is brilliant in that.
Well, we're from the colonies, so we don't have any idea what you're talking about.
BBC America hasn't shown it yet? Oh.
Okay.
Wait, are we talking about that show Identities? I think it's on usually after Doctor Who on BBC America.
No, Line of Duty, not Identities.
Oh.
She was also in Spooks/MI5, because for some reason you didn't call it Spooks in America.
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention. I was busy.
I have no idea what any of these shows are, but your point is taken. She's good.
She's good, the character isn't.
But how is she as Miss Delphox?
Well, she didn't have a whole lot to work with Miss Delphox. She's too generic.
Well, that could be because of, the big reveal near the end.
Yeah. I think there were so many big reveals near the end. I think we should just all handle them one at a time.
Yeah, but you know what I'm talking about.
But I got the feeling she was like Miss Kislet and Miss Foster rolled into one.
Who the hell was Miss Foster?
Oh, come on. Partners in Crime.
Okay, that's what I was kind of thinking of.
The Nanny. And Miss Kislet from the Bells of St. John.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I understand who that was now. Yeah.
I mean, I'm lost.
She does get a couple of scenes in which she gets to shine, but otherwise she's just sort of there.
Well, to be fair, the whole scenario is kind of generic. I mean, it's a bank heist.
No. It's not a bank heist. It's a time heist.
Yes, it is.
I'm still pissed about that.
As we discover about halfway through the episode. But one of the scenes where I think Miss Delphox does get to shine is towards the beginning. The Doctor and company are in the bank with this really neat slow motion shot. Like 30 seconds of slow motion. A lot of people didn't like this. I'm fine with it.
Slow motion's good when it's used accurately.
Well,
when it came to showing the teller, that was good. But just having our heroes walk into a bank, it's kind of eh.
Plus, slow motion shots like that are a long-established staple of heist movies.
Oh, yeah. They're walking to the bank, we're ready to pull off our master plan.
And this episode was basically a heist movie in 45 minutes.
Yeah.
With Doctor Who and time, yes.
Yes, we get it. It was in time. We get it, Fresno. Shut up.
I want to say the people in the super rich in the future, they got some weird taste in fashion.
Everyone has weird taste in fashion in the future.
Not true.
Yes, it is.
Imagine these people are so rich.
Look, if you go and look at like 1940s, 1950s people's representations of what they think the future's going to look at, they came up with some weird shit. Sorry.
And
they came up with some weird stuff.
And this is exactly why I need other people around me doing these reviews to keep me in check. So, but in fairness,
people are going to be wearing weird stuff for all of eternity, trust me.
In fairness, these people are so rich, they can probably wear whatever the heck they want without being challenged for it.
They're so rich, they don't care. They could go around naked and not care.
Very good point. And then,
they ain't from the papal mainframe,
Oh. Oh. Oh.
I have no idea what that means.
Oh. Time with the doctor. It hurts.
I believe you were making a point.
I was about to say that this introduces our monster, not our villain, but our monster for the episode, the Teller.
What a villain.
And it's a doozy of a monster, let's be honest.
Oh my
I will
God.
refrain from saying what his head reminds me of.
I'm very
You
glad
both
of that,
know.
'cause that broke me on Friday night. It's like, oh, he looks like a... Insert word here. It's like, what? And now I look at it...
Ladies, if you look at this monster long enough, you'll know.
And now I look at it, and that's all I can see in its head.
Dudes and fellas, ask a nice lady in your life what exactly. And they'll tell you, and you'll go, oh.
Yeah. So Stephen Moffat himself actually described this as one of the series' best monsters, and he wasn't kidding.
Yeah, it was a really, really cool monster, design notwithstanding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the concept of a monster that can detect guilt, that is so clever.
It's another monster that sort of runs on rules. I mean, Stephen Moffat did co-write this one. You see, the rule is that it detects your guilt, and if you keep your mind blank, it can't get you, but you can't keep your mind blank forever, and that's when it gets you.
Yes, and also because it detects guilt, it's the perfect security system for a bank.
And that explains why
here's me being one of those really stupid nerds who questions everything. I'm constantly wondering how the heck alien race evolves to be like that, where they detect guilt. Like, what would they have to go through?
Evolved? Maybe it was genetically engineered.
Yeah. Because if it was naturally occurring in the wild, it would eventually just drive itself insane with all the thoughts.
Maybe, it is supposed to be like the last of its kind. Maybe that's
why.
Well, the thing is, though, that's apparently what they eat is brains, isn't it?
Well, thoughts.
Or thoughts.
Thoughts.
And then it turns the rest of it to soup. But honestly, I'm wondering how in the world something evolves to be like that and what they eat on a daily basis. And that's me being, a really weird nerd who questions everything. I
have no idea. And now it's time for me to admit a mistake I made in one of the previous reviews. Way back in Deep Breath, I said that the half-faced man was half prosthetic and half model. It turns out he did have some CGI for the robot side of his face.
Ah!
But I bring that up because the Teller, no CGI.
Which is amazing.
Apart from maybe the movement of the eye stalks and obviously the mind powers, but the actual monster itself was largely a costume.
Can we talk about how horrific that fucking shot was of the guy with his head caved in like a spoon head?
Oh god.
Oh my god, that's such a powerful scene.
God damn, that is some messed up stuff.
I mean, the idea of something that can basically implode your mind from within and turn it into mush is just terrifying.
Ugh.
Yep.
And then
of course, it really does, and that scene also does really show just how absolute the bank is. I mean, not only do they liquidate this guy's mind for the counterfeit money, but they also tell him that his next of kin is going to be arrested to set an example.
Yeah, these are like dictators in a bank, basically.
What the fuck?
Plus, they also apparently, they take his bank account, they take his mind, and then you find out later on they set these people up in cells with cameras on them so that the staff will see them. And this is supposed to keep the staff in line.
Well, not just the staff, but also the customers.
What is wrong with this goddamn bank?
Also the customers as well, if they happen to see it.
This is not an easy bank.
Hello,
why would you work here?
Hello, I'd like to deposit 100 million
as we know, there are some people who have to work there. In the case of Miss Delphox, and we find out later.
Yes, and we've already sort of praised the episode for the effects on the Teller, which was not CGI, but the tears coming out of the guy's eyes, and more importantly, his head caved in like a goddamn spoon.
Gross.
Yeah, that was really gross.
Yeah, I don't know if I would do business with a bank where I'm just like, hello, I'd like to deposit 100 million space bar. Oh my god, what is that?
Well, you're only in trouble if you try to do something illegal in the bank. If you don't, then you're fine. And it's like, these
If you
are
deal
people
with a
who...
bank that locks up its bank criminals, sucks their brains out, and keeps them prisoners for the rest of their lives, I fucking wouldn't.
It's
Hey,
pretty...
these are apparently people. In the intro, it says that this bank is where people who own entire star systems go to deposit their whatever. So if I was a owner of an entire star system and they're like, hey, we're so good, we cave in the heads of people who try to steal from you, I'd be like, okay, then I just won't steal from you.
That makes you make a very good point again.
God damn capitalists. I hope the doctor robs them blind.
No, let's not go into the capitalist argument, please. Honestly, this was an episode that had a lot of very cool ideas and concepts, including the dimensional shift bomb.
Cute.
Yeah, that was a very interesting idea, because one of the things I was wondering is if they blow a hole in the floor, how in the world are they going to get rid of it? And it turns out the bomb was a dimensional shift. It just shifted the molecules or atoms or whatever into a different dimension and then moved it back. Although I am a little mad because they had the burn marks around the hole and then amazingly they just disappeared, and it's like, no.
Yeah.
That was a little much.
Dramatic license. Let's give him a bit of leeway there. But also, the clever thing about this that isn't mentioned is a bomb usually, is loud, it creates an explosion, it draws attention to you. This thing's just pop and it's gone.
Well, to be fair, they already had attention on them anyways, because the guards came in just seconds after they closed the hole.
That's very true, yes. And then after a couple more minutes of filler, we start telling the backstories of our two co-conspirators.
Which we've already delved into.
Yeah, but as I just point out that the scenes themselves are very effective. Sometimes all you need is just two characters talking to each other with nothing else going on.
That's how I write my stuff.
Nice plug there.
P.S. They both write books.
Oh, thank you for pointing. I don't think I've ever pointed that out before, but yeah, thank you for that, Kat.
You're welcome.
You're in this with me now.
Oh God.
I live to help.
But at least their backstories explain why they agreed to rob the bank in the first place, as opposed to just them being there.
Yeah, except we don't find until at the end of the episode exactly why they were in the bank in the first place. We know later on that, this is why, but we don't find the items they were after until later.
Well, two-thirds of the story, but yes. And then our heroes, trying to escape the guards, as you've already mentioned, come across the teller. Really bad idea, by the way.
Yeah. They don't just come across the teller, they come across the teller in his little cocoon thing.
Yes, but it doesn't stop the teller from looking on to Clara.
Yep.
Really?
And I know Kuchiri again took offence with this scene because he said on Skype that she should have, by all rights and rules established by the episode, that should have been it for her. Once it locks on, it never lets go. And
Maybe
it locked on.
Yeah.
However, I will offer a counter argument here. At that point, it was just scanning her mind.
Also,
another point. Later on, Clara once again, while they're running through tunnels, gets locked onto by the teller. But Sai, I think he downloads or uploads or some sort of thing he does to his mind where all these criminals start going into his mind, or he feeds on the guilt or something. And he actually makes the teller get off of Clara and onto him instead.
Yes.
So the teller can let go.
And in fairness,
it's just a matter of, what you're doing at the time.
And in fairness, to support that theory, when Saber is caught a couple of minutes later, she says, "Can you get me away?" And he says, "I don't know how yet." So there is a way to escape the teller, they just don't know it because they've got no memories.
Exactly.
Yes.
So screw you, Kuchiri.
You really don't like that guy. You locked him in a bank vault and everything.
Hey, I gave him the ramen. He has something to eat.
Oh God!
He has no way to cook it, but he has something to eat.
You can eat it raw.
Crunch, crunch.
On the subject of the two death scenes, then death in inverted commas, obviously, because spoilers, they didn't actually die. I thought Sai's had more impact than Sabra's. I mean, Sabra's, we didn't really know her that much before the scene happened, so it didn't have much impact for me.
Plus, it was kind of a pointless death. I mean, someone was going to die in that room. We knew it wasn't going to be the doctor. We knew it wasn't going to be Clara. More than likely, Psy was still useful. So there
It's
was
like
really
those
only
two
one
soldiers
person
in Into the Dalek. You know they exist, basically, to get killed in an exciting scene.
Yeah, if they don't say their name near the beginning of the episode, you know they're probably going to be monster bait.
Well,
Yeah,
Psy
that sounded
red
wrong.
shirts.
So, yeah, but they were also not regular, so you knew they were probably going to die.
Red shirts all kind of sort of interchangeable.
Exactly.
It took me a second watch to realise how she got caught in the first place. She was just too slow.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's,
Which, by the way, another example of the teller letting go.
Yes, exactly. God, we're finding just all the holes in this story, despite the fact we enjoyed it. Oh well.
Well.
No, we're finding holes in Kuchiri's hatred of it, is what we're doing.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
loving it.
Kuchiri is if Kuchiri is the has a plot hole detector that goes ding 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 ding. This doesn't make any sense. I've got a goddamn cement mixer that can rationalize and fill those holes up.
That's a very good point.
And I've got logic.
There you go.
Hurrah for logic.
And capitalism, ho!
Because
Blech.
on the subject of the two death scenes, there was one slight problem. It was especially noticeable in Psy's exit,
I think I know where you're going. We'll see.
which I really did enjoy actually. Psy's exit, because it had a lot more emotional impact than Saber's because of the dialogue.
Yeah.
And also because he willingly sacrifices himself as opposed to just, oh, I didn't find the exit, now I'm dead.
It was a bit more noble, yes.
Yeah. When your life flashes in front of you, you see people you love, and I see no one.
Also, if I can just say that with Size, like he actively lets out a yell of "ah" as he goes whoosh.
Yeah, that sort of tried to sell the illusion that it was a death. However, and here was the problem, later on he says it looked like death, it was actually a teleporter. No, it just looked like a teleporter.
Maybe he just screamed like he was afraid as he died, like ah oh.
It could be a knee-jerk reaction.
I'm sorry, but I've watched enough science fiction to know what a teleporter looks like, typically. That looked like a teleporter.
Maybe, in a way, it kind of was a shredder.
It
where
also looks
instead
like
of teleporting them normally, it shredded them up and then teleported them to make the effect real.
Yes. But here's the thing. You know that the first 5 episodes were leaked as black and white work prints?
Yep.
If you watch the fifth this work print of this episode, which I did once the episode had aired, so I didn't have any,
Well, yeah.
Didn't feel bad about it anyway. You look at the effect news for the death there, it looks like a disintegration. It may have just been the lack of colorization, but it actually looked like they had died, and I kind of wish they'd kept that in there, as opposed to this big blue light.
I have a question about the lack of colorization. You know how the corridors in the final episode were all color-coded? Do they look better in black? Because noted Doctor Who blogger Phil Sandifer mentioned that, and he thought so. What do you think of it?
I honestly don't know, because I've tried to go out of my way to not look at the work prints, but I knew there was a reason, much as with the Robot of Sherwood review, there was a reason to look at it for the purpose of the review, and there was a reason to look at it here.
But I do like some of the little camera tricks this episode does. Like the scene transitions are a bit different, and whenever Clara gets her mind scanned by the teller, it goes into this sort of weird God complex flash cut thing.
The director did a very good job. I believe it's Douglas McKinnon again, although I could be getting that wrong.
I don't know.
And also, just to point out on the quote-unquote geekery front, when Sai is downloading the details of all the villains in the universe into his databanks, they showed a lot of old faces from the show's history.
Oh well, I could tell you a couple that I've heard of. There's that big cyborg guy from town called Mercy.
The gunslinger, yeah.
There's a Sensorite who's like from a William Hartnell episode in season 1.
Yep.
And Absalom Dak or something.
Good spot, Absalom Dark.
Absalom Dak, who apparently is a comic character that kills Daleks with a chainsaw.
He is a Dalek hunter. I think he's basically a convicted criminal. It's either face vaporization or become a Dalek hunter. And he might have been included...
with a chainsaw.
Just a little factoid, he may have been included because his original creator, Steve Moore, sadly passed away back in March. So it may have been a little tribute to him. Others I recognised, by the way, were Androvax from Sarah Jane Adventures, Captain John Hart from Torchwood, although we can't mention that too much in Kat's presence, and Ice Warrior.
I like Captain Jack. I love Captain Jack. He's awesome.
Yeah, but this was John Hart.
Oh,
I don't know who that is because you know where I stopped.
He was played by James Masters in Series 2. He was a decent character, but he was a rogue and a villain basically, and that's why he's included.
I have no idea who that is. There's only like 2 people I know from Torchwood, and that's Captain Jack and the guy who kisses Captain Jack.
Yeah. Well, anyway, he was on it. An Ice Warrior was there, a Slovene, a Weevil from Torchwood again, and also the Trickster from the Sarah Jane Adventures. So quite a lot of cameos there.
Good lord.
I had to keep winding back just to catch them all.
Yeah, I was going to say,
one single Chumbly.
No Chumbly, no.
Yeah, okay. So.
And another little gripe I had with this episode was Clara, specifically the lack of her purpose.
Oh, yeah. That is my that's my one big problem with this episode is that Clara doesn't do anything. I mean, she looks cool in her jacket and her like loose tie and white shirt, like some sort of Reservoir Dog bank robber, good-looking lady. Sorry, Jenna Coleman, please don't hurt me. You look nice in the episode.
Is this going to become a recurring theme?
Okay. But in the previous 3 or 4 episodes, she always did something. I mean, good lord.
Not to mention something pretty big to the plot.
I mean, I'm just trying to find out what the hell I wrote about it.
I'm starting to think that maybe this episode's written without her in mind. But maybe somewhere they found that they didn't have a way to put in this character development for Sai and Cybra. So they added in Clara to do that for them.
Okay. So in Deep Breath, she had that big scene where she confronted the half-faced man and stalled for time, got his plan out. Then she plugged in all the proper nodes at the end into the Dalek to get Rusty all back in order and get his memories or whatever. She took charge when the sheriff of Nottingham was interrogating her and turned the tables on him, and she calmed down scared little children after their nightmares and listened. But here, she exists basically so Sai has something to talk to give his character development.
That's why I really am starting to think that she wasn't supposed to be included. This was supposed to be a doctor-centric, and then Clara can go on her date. But then they need someone for her to talk to, for Sai to talk to.
Honestly, you could have taken Clara out of this, and it wouldn't have really taken too much out of the episode.
Indeed.
So no offense to Jenna Coleman. It's nothing to do with her performance. It's just that she wasn't given enough to work with, much like Keely Hawes.
We're complaining about the script. We're not complaining about you, Jenna. You're great. You're great.
Oh, God. But her main role in this episode is basically almost getting her brain liquefied by the teller twice and getting one of her conspirators killed in the process.
Great.
All right, can I talk about something that really kind of irked me?
Go ahead.
It's like the one thing in the episode that really ticked me off.
Okay.
And it's actually just after Sai dies. They get to the vault that he was trying to open. It doesn't work.
Oh,
So
boy.
then a solar storm starts up, and it actually starts to take down the security and electronics of the bank. And that's when the doctor realizes, holy cow, this was planned in the future.
This wasn't a bank
back
heist.
Specifically to this point. And then he says, this isn't just a bank heist, it's a time travel heist. It's like, screw you, you could have name dropped. It's like, no.
Could have dropped travel, just had said time heist.
I thought you were going to say something like, well, if the giant solar storm came and broke the bank's defenses, how come they didn't know about it?
Are you referring to who I think you're referring to?
No, what annoys me is that they could have name dropped, but instead he says time travel heist. It's like,
I'm so close there.
It was a missed opportunity, wasn't it?
That's like the one part of the episode that really ticked me off, and it's so small, but it's like, no.
And another missed opportunity. Are any of you familiar with the Stanley Parable?
Yes.
Well, you may not have noticed this because he wasn't actually credited at the end of the episode, but the voice of the security systems of the bank was Kevan Brighting.
Well, I'll be jiggered.
The narrator from the Stanley Parable, and he wasn't best pleased about being cut out of the credits.
I wouldn't be either.
He went on Twitter and said, "Why am I not in the credits?" Basically.
I did my work. I got my pay. You mean people.
It's not the first time though that actors have not been credited despite having a somewhat substantial role. I mean, Imelda Staunton wasn't credited for a voice role in The Girl Who Waited.
I see.
And god damn it, that's Imelda Staunton, like one of the premier actresses in the country.
How dare you do this to Amelia Stanton?
No.
I think we should probably get back to talking about the actual episode now.
I'm getting to it right now. So the whole idea behind the Time Heist is that
time travel heist
is that each of the people involved get a reward.
So I guess it's the circuit thing that will restore his memories. Saber gets a gene suppressant that will let her actually touch people without changing into them. But the Doctor and Clara's reason for doing the heist is in the private vault.
Yeah, and people have complained that while Saber and Sai's rewards were obvious for pulling off the bank heist, the Doctor's and by extension Clara's was not. But I'll talk a bit about that when we get to the last couple of reveals.
The reveals, yep.
Of the episode. First we have an interrogation scene, which is kind of nice. Miss Delphox gets her second and final chance to shine.
And then, hey, Sai and Saber aren't dead after all. It was a teleport. Hoo boy, let's go to break into the private vault and see what's down there.
Otherwise, as I already pointed out, it would have been more of an impact, this reveal, had it not looked like a teleport in the first place. But I'm just saying.
Get your cement. I looked at it and I assumed, oh, they're dead. I didn't think, well, gee, that sure looks like a teleporter.
Yeah, because, I mean, every series, even in Doctor Who, everybody has their own different version of the teleport effect. So it could have been anything.
I'm happy, though, that they survived, because it meant they weren't just completely throwaway characters.
Good.
Yeah.
For all the problems I have with Saber's characterization, she deserved to not just be thrown in the garbage after 10 minutes.
And what's in the vault?
What's in the vault is Keely Horse.
What's in the vault is Kuchiri.
Kuchiri's in the vault with Keely Hawes? Holy shit.
I want to get in that vault, god damn it. Yeah. I think you pretty much called the identity of the director early on, didn't you?
I don't think I really did, no.
Well, somebody did. Was it you, Kat?
No, I didn't. I honestly had no idea who
it was. I Vault Boy then.
I guess
honestly thought for a minute that the director was going to be the architect, which turned out to not be true.
No.
That's what I thought, too.
The problem I have is that I already kind of had an inkling that the architect was going to be the Doctor, because the second he said this was planned from the future. Oh, and who do we know that can travel through time?
Yeah, that was kind of a big hint.
Ronnie!
Although I kind of thought that maybe he got the call, he went forward in time, this person gave them a plan, and then they went back in time with these people, which is what I originally thought. And I think that's what they were going for.
Yeah.
But it's also kind of a huge clue to the fact that the architect is the Doctor.
I'm not a huge fan of them signposting reveals just before they happen.
You know what I thought it was going to be? I thought that the architect was going to be the director, and that the whole break-in was all just a big test for Delphox and their security.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Was that it was going to be a huge test to see if
Instead, they just went with the architect as the Doctor, and it was planned all along. Which
that would have been quite clever.
The director is Miss Delphox,
or to give her a real name, Madame Karabraxos.
And it turns out that, Delphox and a whole bunch of other people are clones.
And she casually has Delphox incinerated. Great.
Yes. I mean, it made sense that Keely Hawes was going to end up being the main villain, because she's the most famous guest star, so who else was going to get by the main villain? But unfortunately, she was almost as generic as her clones. I mean, she does have an interesting character trait in the apparent self-loathing of incinerating herself.
Beautiful.
She incinerates her clones and watches herself burn.
Can we talk about the bit where Capaldi realizes that the Doctor is the architect and he just keeps telling everybody to shut up? Shut it up.
Oh, you mean when he channels it into Malcolm Tucker?
Yep.
That was great.
I'd have to say my favorite part of that scene, though, was the fact that he kept saying, I hate him! He annoys me! He ticks me off! And it's like, it kind of gives you also an insight to how the Doctor feels about himself.
Well, we already kind of had that with Amy's Choice in the Dream Lord.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not the first time the
Well,
Doctor has shown...
I'm saying this Doctor.
Also
This
conveniently placed Gong.
Oh, I love the gong. Clara, don't you see? Dong! I hate the architect. If we think about it, though, I mean, Kara Braxos isn't technically that evil. I mean, she's corrupt. She's corrupt.
She's
that
not
goes without
nice.
saying.
She's not
nice, but she's not what I would call out and out evil, because her actions are protecting
Well,
valuables.
there's the whole thing with the teller.
All right, that's her real crime.
Kind of, yeah, that's bad.
All right, I'll say she's not as evil as some Doctor Who villains. Is that fair?
No, absolutely not. How dare you?
I would say rather than being evil, she's misguided. She's
Yes.
Amoral?
greedy. She's more of a
Amoral,
greedy
and at
person.
least she does recognise what she's done wrong, and she tries to rectify it.
Yeah, after like 80 years.
Yeah, but...
Well, technically in time travel time, that's nothing.
Right, okay.
Because, I mean, by the time that she goes to ask the Doctor for help, they're already free. So, spoilers.
So,
Well, from her timeline, they would already have burned alive when the bank got burnt.
yeah. Again, we're into timey-wimey bullshit again. God damn it.
I
Well, there's the two possibilities where it hasn't happened yet, and they have a separate timeline where they are free. And then there's the time loop theory where they're already free, but she has to talk to the Doctor.
So anyway, the storm intensifies. Karen Braxton decides to leave, and we had the bit with the Doctor giving his phone number and saying, "You'll be old and full of regrets," which of course she is. And then the teller shows up and starts to probe the Doctor's mind.
And he lets him.
Yeah, and the reason why his mind isn't destroyed, or the reason I've come up with it, is just because he's so old, and he's, as we've seen before, he's very resilient to getting people reading his mind.
Goody.
Nightmare in
I
Silver.
think it's less that and more of what he says later, where director Kara Braxos was actually mentally linked to the monster somehow.
Yes.
And I think by her leaving, it set him free. So he realized, hey, the Doctor's here to help me, so I should let him go. And that seems like a much better idea.
Yeah, once he starts reading the Doctor's mind, I think we can agree it's in the teller's best interest to not turn him into a brain-dead zombie with a caved-in head.
Yeah, because at one point the Doctor has the teller reading his mind. He's like, yes, there's a block there. You see it, right? Help me, get over it.
Yes.
But, in much better words than that.
Yeah. It proves that the teller is not a villain. He's just a monster, a manipulated monster at that.
He got manipulated by Kara Braxos.
Okay, I'll agree then. She's a villain.
Aha! And the reveal is that in the thing that the Doctor and Clara were looking for was
a female.
A lady teller.
Teller.
You talk about plot cement. That whole montage did a decent job of trying to paper over the cracks, but my God, I'm not even going to go into the timey-wimey thing of the Doctor breaking into the bank in advance and placing the cases without being detected at all. It's not worth it.
Well, you could give the theory that maybe director Kara Braxos gave him security clearance somehow,
from
special,
the phone call.
Either that
some sort
or
of special employee code or something.
Well, that's good, but show it.
Yeah, it really doesn't make sense for him to be able to get in there when you're in there. Just steal it then.
But
it's not really about stealing. It's about
I guess they did have to wait for the solar flare thing.
The last 10 minutes of this episode was basically one big revelation after another, and it felt a bit rushed. And as I say, it could have been in 5 minutes. But anyway,
it worked and it made sense to me personally, and the stuff that didn't, I can easily sort of rectify in my head without really having to complain about it.
So the reveal then, as you've already pointed out, is that there is actually a second member of the teller species being kept in the private vault.
Gee, it was all two monsters that were in love? I wonder where I've heard that one before.
Yeah, it's straight out of Hyde. And so was the line, this wasn't a bank heist, it never was, it was a rescue mission. What does that sound like to you?
A time heist?
No, this wasn't a horror story, it's a love story.
So pretty much the same episode we were just talking about with Hyde.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The similarities are very, very apparent, but I feel it was handled a lot better here. Because in Hyde, the revelation there's two of them is almost totally out of left field and almost makes no sense. Here, they build up to it gradually. and they drop some subtle hints along the way.
Although really I would have liked there to be more of a hint that, either Delphox or Carabraxos were able to mentally control the monster, because it seemed more like he was just a prisoner rather than being able to be controlled.
Yeah, that's the bit out of left field, but it's better than the left field reveal or hide anyway. And the hints I'm talking about is there's 6 teleports instead of 4. Delphox mentions that everything has its price tag.
Yeah.
So there's enough hints dropped there to keep you guessing, which is good storytelling.
I like that. This is an episode about keeping you guessing and wondering what the hell's going on.
As is usually the case in a crime thriller or a heist movie, so mission accomplished in that regard.
There you go. Good job, Moth Hat.
And, goddammit, and the Doctor's reward is to actually rescue the Teller's female mate. Because nothing sounds like a reward to the Doctor like reuniting a species in the land to live out the end of their lives. That's very Doctor-ish.
And also, not just reuniting a species, these were the last 2. So he's, in fact, helping a species come back to life.
Yeah, he's making a species survive. So as I said, that's very Doctor-ish.
Good.
It also explains the fact that there's 2 of them, why the Teller didn't just go on a mental rampage and kill Carabraxos and all the people that work for her.
Because they would have killed his mate.
Yes, because Carabraxos was linked to the Teller, so just as if the Teller would know if you were trying to escape before you tried to escape, she would know what the Teller was planning before he did it.
There you go.
Yeah, I guess that's just one of the shortcomings, is that he seems more like a pet rather than, like a prisoner or someone who's being blackmailed. So a little bit more to that would have been nice.
But at least he had a purpose and a reason to be in the episode. It wasn't just, oh, we need a monster. Quickly, let's make up a Teller.
Yeah, that's a lot nicer.
I think last week proved that you don't need a monster.
I still don't know what to think about last week, seriously.
I liked it, but,
I
well.
technically was a monster. That's so annoying.
So anyway, the 2 monsters, or the 2 creatures are saved, and then...
everyone eats Chinese food and goes home happy, the end.
Yeah, there's a bit of banter between the Doctor and his co-conspirators.
I have to say that part was really nice, because it was nice to see, for once, them just having fun in an episode.
The adventure's done, we've all come out alive, let's have some fun.
Yeah, it's like, I think except, even technically not Spoonhead guy in the beginning, nobody really died this episode.
Well, Spoonhead guy didn't even technically die until the bank blew up.
Until the Bank of Carabraxos was...
the bank being destroyed, but nobody died on screen is one
Nobody
thing.
was shown to die on screen, yeah, you're right.
Unless you
It's
count the
like they were
montage
implied
of
to die.
unless you count the montage of the bank security system where some poor fool has their DNA rejected and gets burnt alive.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's
that,
right.
okay, never mind, they did.
Damn it!
We were so close!
We were so close to a deathless episode. Anyway, yeah.
We had a deathless episode last week, come on.
Maybe I'm reading too much into this, but the Doctor does the call me gesture to Sai as he's leaving the TARDIS. I'm probably completely wrong, but if that means he gets to come back in the future, I'm all for that. I like Sai,
Yeah,
as I've
that's
said.
great.
I would probably like this.
Like, not as a full-time companion, but just as a guest character.
Make it like a Captain Jack or something.
And also, I think robbing a whole bank, beat that for a day. It has to be one of my favourite final lines in recent history.
Robbing a bank.
Robbing a whole bank.
Although that kind of also takes me off a bit, because while it was a really clever line, it was really nice to hear him say that, and I laughed. There's also the fact that, constantly the Doctor in the new series has had these really nice, pretty young women as his companion. And there's always been that romantic tension, and it's nice to have not have that in this series technically. So that little line at the end kind of ticked me off because of that.
Yeah.
It's like, for once, I want no romantic tension, no sexual tension, just two people going out and having adventures.
Yeah, there was no chemistry, unfortunately, between the Clara and the Doctor that we've come to know and love in the previous stories of the series. Other than that, though, I think this was probably Steve Thompson's best episode to date.
He also did Curse to the Black Spot and Journey to the Center of the TARDIS, so...
It was his best episode to date.
I can definitely agree with you there.
Yeah, we don't talk about Curse of the Black Spot.
I mean, it's filler, but it's enjoyable filler.
Curse of the Black Spot is the 45 minutes between the opening two-parter and the Doctor's Wife.
Very true.
We don't talk about that.
But Time Heist, I think...
Too bad I'm talking about it.
Time Heist is filler... Shut up. Time Heist is filler. but it's enjoyable filler.
I mean, I expected more of a romp. It's like a high concept, really fun episode. It was a little darker than I thought, but it was still very good.
Yeah, and
I
bonus
and I
points.
can give it a pass.
Bonus points for not having a monster of the day.
Well, tell her maybe, but whatever.
It's not a monster of the day because it actually had a purpose in the plot.
There you go. Okay.
As opposed to just being a monster.
So, Kat, what did you think?
I like the idea of an impregnable bank, someplace that you can't get into easily, and then seeing people, defeat all those defenses is always really fun to watch because it's a nice chance to really look into how intelligent your characters are.
I mean, it's
so
Doctor
that kind
Who.
of thing. That kind of thing, I always really like because usually, the doctor's he's always smart. He's always the smart one. But seeing other people being able to be useful and do something, that's always really nice to see. Especially when it comes to Clara, who unfortunately didn't get much of a chance this episode. But overall, I rather liked it. It was a fun episode for me.
So I think it gets a pass from all three of us.
Yes, a telephone from all three of us. Wait, what?
And that'll just about do it, but wait, can you hear that sound?
Oh god, he got out.
He's right behind me, isn't he?
Wait, what?
Oh god, he's looking at me all funny. Oh, okay, Kuchiri, what did you think about Time Heist?
This episode kinda ticks me off. And I don't know why. I think it was more of the things where it could have been a fun episode, but it wasn't. Basically, when I think bank heist episodes or bank heist, shows in general, I'm thinking Leverage and Hustle, shows that do clever, things around a bank heist, and, you always have that good feeling at the end and things of that nature, and this episode didn't quite do that. And Rainiac's post on his final dungeon, boss dungeon, whatever website, it's like I read it. He said that so far he knows that they're doing a lot of things trying to be like other shows or something the Robin Hood episode, felt like a Robin Hood story. This did not feel like a bank heist. And I think one of the things they could have done is brought in Dean Devlin from Leverage, the guy who wrote for Leverage, who did a lot of Doctor Who references throughout the show. I mean, there's you don't know how many times the aliases Tom Baker and Sarah Jane Smith was used in their cons because, yeah. And, yeah. I'm saying yeah a lot, aren't I? But this episode has the same problem I had with the last episode, and I think I now can articulate it now. Everything in this episode is telling us that there's something, and same thing as the last episode, everything in Listen was telling us that there was something out there, and then they said that it was nothing, even though you saw it, whatever. This episode, they're telling us that this is a bank heist, there's something valuable, there's this, there's that, and there's everything. And it didn't quite turn out that way. We were being told that, there's something big inside this vault, and it wasn't. I think that's the major problem that's going on with this season, and I'll go into monsters here in a second, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of disheartening where, they could have rewrote the episode to where maybe, this evil woman, can't think of her name now, but she was stealing money from the poor or something, and then the doctor does this whole major con thing in order to rob the bank, you will see through Hustle or Leverage or whatever, and he comes up with the mastermind plan, and at the very end, you see it all fall together, right? And then you could have still had the monster and all that stuff, again, I just did not feel any of that. Like, this episode, within the first 5 minutes, I said, yeah, this is going to be, the twist is the woman, is running the whole show and isn't just a secretary. The monster isn't really a monster. They're just having something he loves, or whatever. There's all the doctor's plan. I mean, yeah. It was predictable. And not only was it predictable, it was done. I felt like I was watching Hyde again, which should not have gave me that feeling of watching Hyde again. But another issue is the monster. Yes, I get that he's not really a monster. He's just trying to protect the person it loves. But it has rules. And Moffat has a fetish with rules or something. I've been playing a lot of Destiny lately. And, you get to a point where when you have to fight major bosses, you have to follow rules that the bosses have. And so it's like, I think Moffat's in love with having, all these different rules, like, the blink, don't look. And it's like he's trying to create raid level bosses, and that's good once in a while. Like, if we have the one major enemy that the Doctor has to stop, if there was a rule around it, that'd be nice. But so far this season, we've had 2 episodes now that there's a major rule that you have to follow when facing the monster. We had the half-faced man with his robots where, don't breathe. Now we have these monsters in this episode that has you not to think. I mean, we got don't blink, don't breathe, don't think, don't look away, don't look. I mean, if you want to add the monster, the quote-unquote monster from the list on there, that's 3 rules now that we have to follow this season. It's getting kind of repetitive. Honestly, I just think if you're going to do a story that somewhat follows something that, is there, how can I explain this better? Like, if the Robin Hood episode was fantastic because it felt like a Robin Hood story with a Doctor Who twist. If they would have made this episode more like Hustle or Leverage, but with a Doctor Who twist, I think I would have loved this some more. Much more. And so far this season, after 5 episodes, the only episode I actually truly liked is the one episode that Moffat did not even write. It was Mark Gatiss' Robin Hood episode. So, I don't know. Every time I used to, long time ago, every time I saw Moffat as the writer, I'd be like, oh, sweet. This is going to be awesome, Empty Child was awesome. Blink was awesome. Silence in the Library was awesome. The entirety of season 5 is literally my favorite, season ever. And now it's to the point where, oh, it's Moffat. Within, I don't know, if he writes for the next season, I only have 4 words to say about that. God damn it, Moffat. But I guess that's it. It could have been a better episode if it wasn't completely predictable, and I don't know. I'm getting disheartened with this season. Rainiac, cheer me up, man.
Interesting. And I kind of apologise for the whole locking you in the vault thing. Please don't.
It was my idea.
I don't apologise.
No, Kat doesn't. Anyway, that was Time Heist. Next week, The Caretaker.
Yeah,
I really don't know what to think about this one.
I mean, the weakest part of listening for me was the whole awkward nonsense between Clara and Danny. Now we've got a whole episode of that. I have reservations.
Coupled with the whole, it's a double life sort of story where she can't tell him about this. And it's like, why can't you tell him about this?
Well, the weird thing about this story is that when you read the official BBC synopsis, it makes it sound like it's going to be another take on School Reunion. But the trailer focuses mostly on Clara and the effects of time travel on her both physically and mentally. Also, the villain looks ridiculous.
There's been worse on Doctor Who.
Scovox Blitzer? What the hell?
No. You watch old Doctor Who and you'll see worse villains than that thing.
Alright. On the plus side, Danny's going to be back, so that should be good.
Yeah, he's a fun guy.
And it looks like we're
Hopefully.
finally getting at the moment that he meets the Doctor for the first time, and hopefully he steps foot in the TARDIS.
Oh, please, God.
Yeah, we've been waiting for this for basically the whole
And now
series.
the biggest question about Danny Pink, is he one of the people who sees the TARDIS as bigger on the inside or smaller on the outside?
Good point.
Well,
And that question, and many of us like it, will be answered next time when we review The Caretaker. Until then, bye for now.
Bye.